Hi, my name is Titile or Queen T. I've just decided to go with that. It was a gorgeous day today, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was much like on a day like this when I lived in Miami, 2000, I think 2001. I was working at the Lowe's Miami Beach Hotel. Does anybody know what that is? Very, very shishi fufu. 5-star. And I loved living there. I loved working there. I was in guest services, so when people came in, my job was to look pretty and say, hi, welcome to Miami, come on in. We will do whatever you want us to do. You want bird's milk? We'll make it happen. You want cookies from the moon? Check. We got the money, we make it exist. So one day I was doing the same thing that I do, and these beautiful people start walking in the lobby. The lady in the front was an Arabic-looking lady. She was dressed so beautifully with beige top and pants, and you can look at it and know it was expensive. She looked expensive. And behind her were these two girls walking, and they kind of looked like me. I said, oh my gosh, they're Ethiopian. And that doesn't, it's Miami, so there's a lot of Latinos. I'm so used to people saying, you Dominican? I say, hi, eres Dominicana. And I speak Spanish, sí, como no. Sometimes I'm Cuban, sometimes I'm Puerto Rican, but on this day, these girls looked Ethiopian. So I looked at them, and I said, welcome to Miami. It's the Lowe's Miami Beach Hotel. And I said, they looked at me. They had their hijab, the head covering. They were walking behind her, and they kind of looked at me like this. And I'm expecting, hello, like, you're Ethiopian. I'm excited to see you say something. So they, in a very shy way, respond, oh, then we did the mandatory Ethiopian greeting. We kissed 3 times on each cheek, and we greet each other. And the lady looked at me and she said, you Ethiopian? I said, yes. And they're from Ethiopia too. She said, don't steal them. I steal them? I mean, like, their stuff? Or them, like, literally? I didn't even understand it. But we're in guest services, so the customer's always right. Right? If they call me whatever, I said, of course. Absolutely. That's what I do. So I said, okay, I will. I said, here's my card. If you guys need anything, I gave my cards to the girls too, and she looked at them. I said, okay, whatever. We're gonna move along. So they go to the front desk to check in, and I go to the valet guys. I'm like, that lady was weird. She just told me, don't steal them. And he goes, oh, they're from Saudi Arabia, and they're here with an entourage. And the 2 maids. And it clicked in my head. All those movies that I've seen about human trafficking, the girls that get stolen from my country, or are fooled into thinking that they can go and make millions of dollars, but they're abused and beaten and all of that stuff. And it all made sense. It all made sense why they weren't so excited to be in the presence of, hello, me, another Ethiopian, And everything just, so that's why. Anyway, they went on their way. I went back to my life, being cheery and the cheerleader, welcoming everyone. And then the evening went on. Then the next day I come in, and the guys tell me, those girls have been looking for you. I'm like, what girls? The girls that came in from Saudi Arabia yesterday. I'm like, why are they looking for me? I don't know. They've called no less than 10 times. It's like, 10 times? I said, okay. So I go to my desk and I called them. And it was one of the sisters. She said, you have to help us escape. And look, at this juncture in my life, the most serious thing that I have done was moving to Miami by myself. That's it. That's the most serious and life-changing thing I've ever done. And I'm like, I couldn't even respond because I'm thinking, oh my God, she's gonna get me killed. This is serious business. The lady already told me don't steal them. Now I know why. Because what's gonna happen is, when they're missing, guess where they're going? Yeah, me. And I'm thinking, why did I even have to say I was from Ethiopia? Why didn't I even have to talk to these people? Why do I have to be friends with everybody? Anyway, so I told her, I have to call you back. Because I knew I couldn't say no, but I also knew I couldn't say yes. Because I want them to be free, but I also don't want to die. So I couldn't work. I told her I'll call her back. I go downstairs. We have a very fancy cafeteria. I don't know if when you work in a hotel, food is free and you get to eat and drink and all of that, and get fat and all of that. But anyway, that's a whole other talk. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, sitting by myself, doing this, literally shaking. And another coworker comes, and I'm usually the one we sit there together, we make fun of the people that came in and the people that didn't tip so well. Oh yeah, did you see that Mickey Mouse came with all that luggage and we only have $2? That's what we talk about when we laugh and we release the stress. But that day, that was not me. I was all freaking out and I'm like, oh my God, why do you have to kill me this way? As there are no ways to take me, you know? So my coworker, his name was Clever, he comes to me, he goes, what's wrong with you? I said, I can't talk about it. Why? Remember those girls that came I told you about yesterday? They want me to help them escape. And I don't know what to do because when they leave, they're gonna come get me. And I can't do this. He goes, well, you have to help them. Et tu, Brute? Really? He goes, don't worry about it. We'll help you. I'm like, okay. That's what I wanted to hear. So this became a thing. He calls the valet manager. He calls the bellman supervisor. He was one of the concierge guys. They come in, and we're trying to devise a plan where I will stay on the security camera the entire time and make no contact with these girls visibly anyway. So should they go back and rerun the tape, there'll be no evidence that I did anything. And we also know where all the cameras are. But anyhow, so that makes me feel a little better, because now they can escape and I don't have to die. They give me a radio, one of the walkie-talkies that we all had. And I go back to my desk and I call her. And this was, and I also must mention, this was the one time that we can do it, because they never leave both of them in the hotel room together. Or wherever they go, they take one, because they're sisters and they know one will never leave the other one behind. So this time, they had been invited to Star Island, I don't know if you, to Fisher Island, rather, where there's no bridge to Fisher Island from Miami. And you can't just go, even on the ferry, unless you have been invited by someone that lives there. It's super duper exclusive, yet another shishi fufu area. I've never been. But anyway, so that night they couldn't take them. So that was the only opportunity they had. And if I say no, can you imagine? Like, that's a lot of pressure. So anyway, so I call her and I tell her, don't pack a bag. You will not be dragging a bag anywhere. Just get the stuff that you need. They didn't have their passports, any of their paperwork, because the lady keeps that in the safe. So just get whatever money you have, and just maybe a change of clothes, whatever you can put in the you know, one of those hotel laundry bags, and that, and just walk out, and a friend will meet you by the elevator. We did that. He picked them up, one of them picked them up by the elevator, and I'm sitting on my desk trying to look busy, like looking this way. I see them pass. I'm shaking for them. I mean, it's a lot of pressure. I see them pass. He hands them all off to the bellman supervisor, and the bellman supervisor walks them to the valet guy, and the valet guy takes them over to the garage, And I had called another bellman who was also from Ethiopia, who was willing to hold them until a relative came from Alabama or South Carolina or something, drove and came and picked them up. So when they got to the garage and got in, the guy, his name was Samson, when they got in his car, I get this message, the eagle has landed. Manny, God rest his soul, but anyway, so he says, the eagle has landed in his Dominican accent. I can still hear it. So anyway, so that part is done. This is probably about, let's say, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And my shift ends at midnight. 11 o'clock comes. And I see their security guard walking towards me. And this is the American me trying to be nonchalant, like I don't, oh hey, salam alaikum, how you doing? Yeah, how you enjoying your stay in Miami? And he looks at me, where are the girls? It's like, what girls? The girls. Oh, and I said their name. I'm not gonna mention it because I want to protect their identity. And I'm like, I don't know. I saw them yesterday when they came in. Did you check by the pool? At this point, I can see on his face that he called on his ancestors to hold his hands, not to smack me across the face. The rage, I can see the rage. If you can see steam coming off of people, I saw it that day. But I'm all still cheery. No, I haven't seen them. Did you check in the gift shop? I know the gift shop is closed. But did you? He goes, he just looked at me and turned around and left. And the hour ended and I left, and the next day I was off. When I came back, a day later, they had never checked on the camera. They never looked for the girls. They just moved on with their life. They have checked out. At this point, those two girls were on their way to South Carolina. And I kept up with them for about 2 years after that. They had gotten their paperwork together, had their identities, and they had their own apartments and working as waitresses at a restaurant. It was the most courageous thing I've ever done, and it completely changed my life.